summertime, the streets are filling up with bicycles again.
Yeah. Well, I try not to run over them, but
But they try to get run over, it looks like some of them.
yeah. Lemmings. Daredevils. That looks out of focus. Wow, that reminds me of the old days. Oh. Huh. Okay. More trouble.
Camera 2 is the blurry one.
Yeah, I thought it was just me. No, okay. Well, anyway, hello, everybody. Welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar. They used to call me on the phone. Occasionally we hook up the phone and they talk to me, but not today. But people ask me questions about guitars, guitar players, all things guitaristic, you know. I answer these questions, talk about related topics like the sitar, the chitole, lutes, uds, vihuelas, banjos, balalaikas, bazookies, bajos, sextos, guitarrones, tiples, cavaquinhos, ukuleles, banjolins, mandolins, bandurias and bandoras, bandolas, mandocellos, trombones.
Horns, bagpipes, and concertinas.
There we go. All that stuff. They say trombones, tromboninas, sack butts and saxophones, cornholts and cornetos, cornets, clavinets, clavichords. You could talk about pipe organs, piccolos, harmoniums and harpsichords and harmonicas. Let's see.
Jews harps and Irish harps.
That's right. Yeah. Didgeridoos, dulcimers.
Xylophones and scissors.
That's right. Which basically it's a music show. We could talk about other things like politics, world events, people's personality problems, but we try to keep it clean. This is a family program. I still haven't adjusted. We did about 20 years as a call-in show, and I haven't quite adjusted to the new reality. People don't like to talk on the phone anymore, like to text. We haven't quite gotten up to the text or we could tweet me, But anyway, all right. So here we are. I guess next week's show is going to be preempted by 4th of July. So we may use this as a rerun. If you're watching this in the 4th of July, this is actually last week's show. But anyway. So, okay, I brought a couple guitars. This here.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
How long does it take to tune a 12-string guitar?
Nobody knows. It's never been done. All right. I was just going to ask you that question. But anyway, okay, here's 12-string guitar. This is a Guild. It's one of the newer ones. One cheaper ones, actually. Actually, I find this is a really nice guitar. Kind of huge, so it's enormous. It's like there's Dumbo the elephant from the Disney thing. Are there any other famous elephants I can name this after?
Barnum's Jumbo.
Jumbo? Well, the body design is jumbo. This is a jumbo body. It's called a Jumbo. They're like, I don't know, famous elephants I could name it after. I have a white hollow body. I call it Moby Dick because it's kind of big. I was looking for even bigger white hollow body jazz guitar. And then I think I'd sell that one and then get the other. But anyway, this one it's huge. But once you get used to it, it's not so bad. Neck is huge too. Oh yeah, so everybody knows how 12-string guitar works, right? You got first two strings, they're pairs, right? They're doubles. So you push both of them down at the same time. Right? Those two are the same. These two are the same. But after that, after the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth courses, you go. I think I'm tuning it. They go into octaves. I'll have you know that I'm rehearsing a little act here. I've had Donna on the show many times, and Donna has her own show now about the cats at the shelter that they're trying to adopt. She has cat videos. Oh, sorry about that. But she's a ukuleleist and a singer, and we also have Ed, who turns out to be a magistrate, believe it or not. He's been on the show a bunch of times. He's a mandolinist. So Donna with her baritone ukulele, Ed with his mandolin, and me with a 12-string guitar. And I don't have it. I have four. I don't have a 12-string. I have four 12 strings. But I play 12-string guitar. So the notion is that we will have well, one thing is we're probably a week from, like next week, not this week, but next week we're probably going to play at Uptown Bill's Coffee House and try some stuff out. But what we're doing is we're actually going through a bunch of music that you don't hear that much anymore, and we're just doing it instrumentally. And this is music from the 70s, like Gordon Lightfoot and Jim Croce and some other things too, that are kind of 70s issue, like 70s music, which is actually kind of nice when you think about it melodically.
When you think about anything from the 70s that isn't disco.
Right. Well, the disco really hit for me in the 80s, I think, but early 80s, but very late 70s.
Pretty early. Disco died pretty quick in the 80s.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how long it was popular. Maybe it's just because I was here, but didn't. When I lived in San Francisco in the 70s, there wasn't really a whole lot of disco going on that I was aware of. There was a kind of like, well, quite frankly, I lived one block from a gay neighborhood, and I was a desk clerk in a weird hotel, and that's how I managed to survive back in those days. And there was a sort of a disco scene, but it was very much, in the kind of gay community thing. They were still having bands and stuff in the, but not that I went out on the town because I didn't have any money, so I was a poor boy on the street, but I got my room and board and a small amount of money by being a desk clerk, so I could actually survive. In theory, I didn't really need any money because if I worked a certain number of hours every week behind the front desk at the Harcourt in San Francisco, there on Larkin Street, I'd, they'd feed me substandard food 3 times a day, and I'd have a tiny little room with a roommate, and on the air, well, but it's better than living out in the street, I thought. Nowadays, I just live in the street if I live in San Francisco, but anyway, so. Anyway, this is my 12 string. I've always liked them. I know they. Oh yeah, I was telling you. Okay, so I'm going to have the fretful trio. It's in Donna on the ukulele, Ed on the mandolin, and me on 12-string guitar.
So how did your Trek Fest appearance go?
Oh yeah, that's the other. Well, this actually. Okay, so the three of us, we were half, or even less than half, because the Tom and the Tribbles has been a 7-member or a 6-member band. The band members have dispersed, and Donna did not really want to do it this year. She wanted to go kayaking on the weekends and stuff instead of rehearsing constantly, because normally we start rehearsing at the beginning of May, and then we have a show, a 2-hour show ready to go by the end of June. And we did that for like 5 years in a row, but we didn't do it this year. And it was Donna's. Donna knew one of the women on the board of directors for it, and so she's the one who got us the gig. So she said she didn't want to do it. And if your lead singer and principal ukuleleist of the band doesn't want to do it, then that's it. It's done. You know, I have the bass player. I haven't seen the bass player for a while, and one of the guitar players. He said last time I saw him, he said the last time he played guitar was at the last Trek Fest. So he wasn't ready to go.
So he's out of practice.
Well, if you don't have the calluses in your fingers, it's 2 hours. Anyway, yeah, we're kaput. Tom and the Tribbles, as far as I know, band broke up.
Is no mo.
No more. So what we have now is the fretful trio. Not enough band to play a Trek Fest, and Donna wouldn't do it anyway. So we're going to have a thing though. I'm going to play 12-string, and I like 12-string and mandolin together. In fact, I'm kind of planning on doing that myself, as in making a loop with the 12-string and then playing it back, the accompaniment, and then switching to mandolin and playing on top of it. I thought that'd be kind of fun. But anyway, yeah, no Trek Fest. Sorry.
And are you playing anywhere this weekend?
Well, I believe that I'm playing at a private party on Friday night. And I told them at Tuscan Moon that I was probably playing at a private party on Friday night. But I'd let them know as soon as possible if I could be there. So I can't tell you. I mean, if you want to, you better call and make reservations. If you want to go there this weekend, you better make reservations. And you can ask them. I'll probably know tomorrow. Because actually the thing is I'm playing a party for the same guy tonight. But if I play 2 parties in the same week for somebody, I think he gets sick of me. But I know I get tired of me. You probably get tired of me, and you're only here for an hour a week. But anyway, never mind. So I'm going to be there on Saturday at the Tuscan Moon in beautiful downtown Kelowna, about 20 miles south of Iowa City on Highway 1 or 22. You could I like to take Highway 218 south, and they've been paving it, it's nice.
Exit 80?
Yeah, exit 80, turn off at Riverside, which is where Trek Fest was last week. And then, cruise on through on Highway 20. Man. Yeah, go west. Highway 22, cruise on through, and then the next town over from Riverside is Kelowna. So when you get to Kelowna, by the Casey's General Store, there's a sign that says Business District, turn left. So I turn left there. If you go down a few blocks, you'll see this red brick edifice that has a sign on the side that says Tuscan Moon, and there's like the ivy growing on the entryway, the gateway to the outdoors, the patio area, the pergola, and that's where I play outdoors there. But I'll be there Saturday for sure. I don't know. I don't think I'm there Friday. But anyway, and as I say, I'll be playing parties and things. I'm also going to promise my son that I was going to start a new enterprise. On the 4th of July is going to be. It's probably when I'm going to sign up for Facebook, because I was on Facebook and I didn't like it and I got off. It's really hard to do. I'm going to go back up to Facebook, Patreon, the whole works. I am on Twitter, which you can tweet me if you want. What I'm going to try to do is kind of go pro with my, stuff that I do. Instrument reviews, if nothing else, because there's one thing I'm really good at is buying guitars. And other people could probably benefit from my advice. And I don't work for any particular music company. I hang around the local music stores. As in any given week, I will certainly make a couple of forays to West Music and the Musicians Pro Shop in town, and sometimes I go up to the Guitar Center up there in the northern reaches of Cedar Rapids, right there in the Marion border. You could probably see Marion from the back loading dock, but I go up there sometimes too, and I buy things from all these people. But anyway, so I know, so I kind of know things. I find things out. A lot of times I'm ahead of the salesman, but then when you think about it, go to a music store, like, 30 years ago or more than 30 years ago, if you went to West Music, there was a good chance that I'd be the guy behind the counter with my little name tag. And also, of course, after that, I had my own guitar shop. From about 1984 until 1990. I didn't like. I completely lost my taste for ramen, though, so I decided not to go into business. So I'm just. I don't sell guitars. I'm a consumer.
And a consultant.
Well, let's see. I know people get tired of me just talking too much and not playing, because I actually haven't played a song since the Tom's Guitar Show theme, and I'm holding this 12-string here. But so I discovered something. I was looking at the weather or the news or something, and the sidebar there's always like guitar porn, I call it, just like they you know. And I saw these little pictures of guitars, and if you hover over them, the price comes up. And there was a pretty good-looking white Fender Stratocaster, the white pickups, a white pickguard, and a maple neck, so a very blonde neck, very pale guitar. And it was $999.99, it said. And I'm not...
Free shipping with purchase of $1,000 or more.
Something like that, yeah. I didn't get that far. And I'm not a shill. This is a Guitar Center, I think, but So I looked at it, and it was an American Standard. Now, everybody knows that the Fender discontinued the American Standard, which is like a $1,200 guitar, right? They discontinued it a couple like half a year ago, and then all these stores that had them were selling them at closeout prices because the American Professional came in to fill that slot, and they were slightly more expensive with new upgrades. The American Standard's been around for a long time. I have an American Standard hanging on my wall, which I like quite a bit. It's kind of an obnoxious color of blue, but it was 1995, so that's how long I've had that. And then the Standard had been around for a long time before that. So they discontinued the Standard. So anyway, so I looked at it and said, okay, $9.99, that sounds like a closeout price. But then it said it's not available till 9 something, which I guess is September, isn't it? So it's not available till September, which means they haven't built it yet, right? I mean, isn't that the deal? Bless you. If they haven't built it yet, that means they're building them now. So anyway, so I found that out. And also the American Special, which they've also had for a few years and discontinued. I have 3 Fender American Specials, 2 Telecasters and a Stratocaster. They're popping up everywhere. They had discontinued, they were out of them, they were gone. But now they must be building them again. So I thought, wow, this is interesting. And so I went and asked the local Fender dealer over at West Music there, they didn't know that. You see, it's like I'm so interested in this subject. I'm glad I don't, collect. Well, there's one story I heard. Somebody in southern Iowa had like 500 classic cars, and the old man died, and they're auctioning them off because he collected cars. He had like 500 of them or something like that. This is a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a lot better than that, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't take up so much space.
500 guitars takes up a lot less space than 500 cars.
And I don't even have 100 guitars. I got well under 100. I probably don't even have I have under 90. I'm certainly over 80, but not over 90. So, I mean, if you count in the bass guitars and the mandolins and ukuleles, of course, I'd be up over the line. But I mean, they don't count, right? I mean, ukulele's not a guitar.
Not guitars.
That's right. It's sort of a guitar, but it's not really a guitar. Never mind. All right.
Of course, what did you say those things that look like ukuleles but they have 6 strings are?
Guitar-lele. I have one of those too. I have a guitar-lele. I have a requinto guitar, which I guess counts as a requinto guitar is the same pitch as a guitar-lele, but it's larger. It looks kind of like a kid's guitar, only thicker neck and everything. It's just an alto guitar. They use them in Mexico. The guitar, like the one I will play as soon as I get done goofing off here, the one over there, is what they call a tenor guitar. So the regular guitar that we know is a tenor. The alto guitar is sort of like, just like this. It's this much guitar, right? And then there's a soprano guitar, or I ordered an instrument, which is, I don't know if it qualifies as a guitar, but it's a 12-string mandolin in theory. But it's a 12-string guitar. This seems like with the strings and octaves. But it's built on a mandola, which, as everybody knows, is just a lower pitched, larger mandolin, same as a viola is to a violin. But it's this long, so it's this high. And maybe if they build enough of them in time, I'll have one by August. I can hardly wait. I'll be sure to bring it on the show, if I can get it in tune. Well, if I wait to get it in tune, I'll never have it on the show. So I'll just play it out of tune. So one thing about playing a 12-string guitar is that if you just pluck it, you get only one string. If you pluck it normally, you have to flatten out your stroke. Or if you do it this way, you just get that. So you have to flatten your stroke. Another thing is that normally you would see a guy like me play like this, you know, with the thumb ahead of my fingers. But in the 12 string, I might play like this because I get a slice. I use the side of my fingernail. Another thing I might do is a lot of back strokes, and then strumming down. With my fingernail. So a lot of, to get more out of a 12 string. Okay, so there's a lot of things I've learned from playing other things, like the cuatro, Venezuelan cuatro. That's sort of like a strums. This is a rasguaya. It's more like a flamenco technique, but there's like a two-finger. But on a 12 string, this is really effective. You got like a. I also might just, to get more tone, I'll use the side of my finger. I modify things, and also this backstroke of if I just go like, instead of going this way, which I normally do, I do a backstroke. I just, hit it with my finger the other direction. They get that high string, so I get this like, as opposed to finger picked this way, right? But if I strum this way, go this way, I get this. So I go this way, I get. Twelve-string guitar. I'm just fooling around. Just showing you what's possible with a 12-string guitar. I don't know. I got to spend more time with them. You have to have a grip, man. You have to have a grip.
Maybe you could call it the Mammoth.
The Mammoth?
Or the Mastodon.
The Mastodon. Yeah. It's not very furry, but yeah.
Yes.
It's, oh yeah, it's Dumbo the elephant. There's Jumbo, but Jumbo is, it's a Jumbo. Moby Dick, the Great White Whale, that was fun. I don't know, man. I already got that one taken. It's also white. This isn't exactly white, just blonde, you know?
You know what Tarzan said when he saw a herd of elephants in sunglasses and hats?
What?
Nothing. He didn't recognize them.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. How do you get down off an elephant?
You don't. You get down from a duck.
That's right. Yeah, okay. That's a classic.
Yeah.
You know. I was thinking about this big diatribe I could go through about people like the difference between lying and kidding. And I was thinking about how when I was a boy, I was told, maybe by my grandfather, that the moon was made of green cheese. And that was quite popular in those days. There are other kids who believed that too.
I don't know if anybody believed it, but I always heard it.
Yeah, well, I had my doubts, even as a 5-year-old, that it was made out of green cheese, but because it didn't look like that. Well, that was before the Apollo moon missions and everything. So
Well, when that went off, now my grandpa was an old timer, and he always said, "They say there's no water up there, but I know better than that. The water's up there before it's come down here."
yeah.
He was an old farmer, and he always looked for the ring around the moon when it was going to rain.
Oh yeah, yeah. Right. Well, maybe it was not quite that far, but never mind. I don't want to question your grandfather. Sure, he's no longer with us, so
No.
he'd be well over 100 by now, anyway. But
Oh yeah, he died in the '60s, and he was in his '80s. So.
yeah. Well, my grandfather, if it's one, it's either him or the guy next door, Mr. Nelson, who was actually older than my grandfather, but he was born 1898. And so, like, where was he in World War I? Well, the thing was, he enlisted, but he's a smart fellow. So he was in the Signal Corps, so he went to Harvard, actually, to study Morse code and communications. And by the time he'd graduated from that, the war was ending. And but they had a victory parade, and the guys who got off the ship, apparently, the story is the guys who got off that ship that had been, in France, they had gotten a hold of alcohol, and they were just dead drunk the night before the parade, and they certainly couldn't march in it. So my grandfather marched in the returning veterans parade, even though he never got to France, because he was able to march,
Right.
I guess the other guys were in no condition. This is a story, but I've heard, but one of those things, It's kind of weird, though, marching in the victory parade, because, never mind. Just one of those things, I've known so many preachers of various kinds of denominations and so forth, and I know that they have to come up with a sermon every week.
Yeah.
And if you've been a guitar player as long as I have, and you've, played in churches on and off, since boyhood, like I've heard a lot of sermons when you're thinking, I don't know. There's one guy, and he gave great sermons. I liked his sermons. Sometimes I'd misinterpret them. I'd ask him later. The one about the Energizer bunny that keeps on going was one that was a little bit iffy, but he was a nice guy. But he had one about the about the 3 guys on the crosses in the Gospel of Luke, and I paraphrased it back to him, and I don't think he liked my interpretation of it. But once you get something out there, anyway, that's what all I'm saying is these preachers every week they have to come up with another one, so they have to find some sort of a story,
There's a story. I have no idea if it's true or not. Calvin Coolidge was famous for not being very talkative, and some reporters caught him coming out of church one Sunday. I said, "What was the sermon about?" He said, "Sin. What'd he say? He's again it."
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's maybe that's what that was what the preacher had to say, but he had to kind of pad that message a bit,
I had to make that last half an hour.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad that's not my job.
Yep.
I would just sit there with my guitar and wait for the cue to everybody to start singing that one song again. And anyway, oh well. Everybody's job is tough in places, You might think this guitar playing business is pretty easy. All you got to do is eat and sleep, but it's actually more involved than you'd think. But oh, my frets are sticking up. I'm not really playing on this thing. I just love the sound. I mean, I can. This takes a grip, pushing down all 6 pairs. Now, I call them courses, so it's because I'm a nerd, okay? In the lute or the mandolin, when you have double, triple, whatever strings, if it's the same pitch or the same note, whatever, even though they're an octave apart, they call it courses. This is a 6-course guitar. Someday, when I'm really feeling ambitious, I'll bring my 8 and 10-string guitars on the show and play them. They actually keep going. The 10-string has a 4-inch wide neck and it has like low. Well, they both have like low bass guitar notes on them. And this is just a 6-course. These are doubles. You push down 2 strings at once. So, yeah, same finger, but it takes a little grip. Hang on a second here. Okay, I'm going to change partners. Yeah. Look at this thing, huh? Big, fat blonde with a, kind of curved back on it and everything. Big, fat blonde. We could name it after a big, fat blonde instead, but I don't think that'd be a good idea, do you?
It's a family show.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I feel like I'm at liberty to really make fun of anybody but guitar players, I suppose. Not exactly sure if you'd call Tom's Guitar Show politically correct, but I don't know.
I don't think we're all that. Well, maybe we are. As you say at the beginning of every show, we try to keep it clean, but
Yeah.
I don't know. We worry about political correctness much.
Well, there's a law in Canada. I don't know if it's been signed or whatever, but it's for people with all kinds of different genders. And you have to use their proper pronouns, which are maybe things that are never been used in the English language, Z and whatever, not he or she, but Z or whatever. And they have like 100 of them on this list, but it grows. It was 80 something, but I went over 100, I think. I heard anyway, I don't know. I'm not following it closely. It's Canadian law. But the one thing is that some people would say that you own the language you speak. That you say certain words. It's your like I can't control what I shouldn't control what you say. You control your own speech, and of course I control mine.
Of course, you don't have to let me say things on your show.
Well, we could kick you off for making it unfamily friendly or whatever. The point of this show is not to push the envelope with foul language and disgusting humor. Although it gets pretty, but groaners are okay, but we don't want to be like, back when people
don't want anything we don't want our kids to see.
Right. Well, I mean, I've had people call, with their 2-year-old. The guy calls and he's got his 2-year-old daughter in his lap, and they're watching the show together, and they're and they're talking to me, and I figure I don't want to be like, I don't want to give the kid nightmares. It's a boring show. What I do, I play guitar and I talk to you, right? And then sometimes I talk to Mr. Skopinski, but not very often even. So I guess that's the point. So anyway, the thing is, do people have the right to say you must call me this, or else you are guilty of a hate crime? Like if you have some sort of word that you made up because of your, like identity issues
or whatever.
Yeah, a Z, G, whatever, whatever your thing is, your pronoun, Like I would call you, I say, Bob comes on my show except when he snowbirds in Las Vegas. But what if I couldn't say he? When G or Z or fee, fi, fo.
Well, you could just say Bob again. Bob comes here except when Bob goes somewhere else.
Yeah, I could just call you, yeah. Well, there was some college kid here in the U.S. who insisted his prefix would be his Royal Majesty, and so he had to be addressed by all the faculty in the university as His Royal Majesty, because that was the pronoun that he chose, and if they didn't do that, they'd be violating a rule that they had. So
that's a thought. I'd probably like to be addressed as my lord.
Yeah. Yeah. So, of course, it'd be.
I used to work with a guy. His wife got pregnant. He wanted to name the kid something like that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Name the kid My Lord.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's Judge Reinhold. Was,
Your Honor, yeah.
yeah. And there was
There used to be a newsman named Major.
yeah. There's a Major's well, there are certain jokes I can't use in this show about Major. 30 Years in the Saddle by
Yeah.
Major. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sort of like Sideburns, but not exactly. You know. And Spaceballs, of course, with Major. Never mind. We'll save it for the long winter nights after the show. But,
Well, that's when you're talking about the guys that were too drunk to march in the parade. I've seen ships come back from short overseas trips and wives waiting down on the pier, but the husband couldn't come ashore because he was on the what we call the binnacle list, restricted because he had a social disease.
oh,
We can say social disease.
I suppose. Well, everybody would have to be above a certain age to even know what we're talking about. So that reminds me of a limerick, but I can't tell that either. So anyway, never mind. I'm gonna play this. Okay, all right. So this is one of my flamenco guitars. People who follow the show know I actually have two of these. This one is the I think this is called Ziricote or Ziricote. It's an exotic wood from Belize, I think, if I'm right, and it's a relative of rosewood. The problem is you can't really get Brazilian rosewood very easily anymore because it's restricted. They cut down too many rosewood trees to make ornaments and stuff. When it makes perfect back and sides. So this is another wood. It makes a good back and sides, but it's not hasn't been over lumbered or timbered yet. I love this guitar. That's why I'm playing a party tonight right after the show. And if I know how these parties go, I'll maybe start out with my little amp, do my little loops and stuff, but end up on the back porch where there's no electricity available. So this thing actually sounds pretty good when it's not plugged in. So a lot of the technique stuff I do, well, my advice is don't take advice from a guy like me, but for guitar players, like what I do is start out with like your basic classical guitar technique. I studied classical guitar, and I still do. I mean, I do stuff. I do, classical guitar. Probably the best technique-wise, the best researched. It's a fine art of guitar. So you start with that, and then you start picking things up from other disciplines. Now, one thing is like the claw hammer banjo, also known as frailing. So I've fooled around with that on and off for a long time, and different styles of it. And I don't have any particular. I don't want to be an ethnomusicologist and say this is how they did it in that one holler up there in West Virginia, because I don't want to do that. I know some people do that, and that's fine. And I'm glad those people are around there so they can show the rest of us, to the best of their ability, how somebody did it 100 years ago or more, somewhere remote, a style of music that maybe I didn't grow up with. But so I just kind of cop some technique from that. So one thing like on the frailing banjo or the claw hammer, and some say there's a difference. Some people don't. People argue about this stuff in the banjo community, but let them do that. There's a thing about you get two together, they can argue. I mean, anyway. But it's like you have your hand flat and you use the back of your fingernail for a strum. So I say, yes, that's interesting. I do that. But then there are other things in other countries where they do this. Like in Latin America, various instruments that they play in other countries in South America. Venezuela. I guess that's Central America, isn't it? But Colombia, that's South America. The cuatro players and so forth, and the very strummy things that people do. So you can cop licks from that. Sorry. And then, so I combine banjo and other like cuatro techniques and things that I've learned, along with the flamenco guitar techniques, which are very interesting, I think. And then some basic like mix and match and thinking, things that you pick up from like hot rod fingerstyle guitar players who come up with stuff. So what I end up with is like your standard classical guitar as a starting point, and then start to I can use whatever I want and whatever. I mean, it's all right with me. The music police haven't come and gotten me yet, although there is a sort of a thing of orthodoxy. So how many banjo players does it take to screw in a light bulb? You know that one, don't you, Bob? 5? 4 to screw it in, or 1 to screw it in, and 4 more are standing around saying, that ain't the way Earl did it. But you don't have to play banjo exactly like Earl Scruggs, and a lot of people don't want to play guitar exactly like Segovia did. And I figure, actually, I don't want to be exactly like anybody else. I just want to be me. And some people say, oh, you're arrogant. You're arrogant. You think you're the best? I say, no, but I've got to be me. You know what I mean? I've got to be me.
Or like Mac Davis said, some people say I'm egotistical. Don't really know what that means. I think it has something to do with the way I fill out my skin-tight blue jeans.
That's right, yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble. Yeah, anyway. Well, I think the thing is, okay, like mixing and matching techniques. So I got this thing where I want to play, all the different kinds of guitars and ukuleles and banjos and things. And I'm looking forward to that octave 12-string guitar mandolin hybrid monstrosity that should be coming along here soon. I got a chance to play one for 5 minutes once, and I thought, I got to have one, but they didn't have any. They had to build some more. So whenever the glue dries on that one, I get one of those. And then I'll be doing finger picking on this little thing, and it'll be like, a whole new world for me to explore. But basically, what I want to do is, even when I play like a... well, I can't play it right now. It's Land Isaac Albini's. Or, and then it goes like, but then when you get to the strum part, instead of going, I go. Now, I don't play this piece right now. I mean, I'm actually teaching it to a young man who's off at high school, or he's off at debate camp for like a month or more. But he wants to record it in the fall. Young classical guitarist, I've had on the show a couple of times before. But, the thing is, when I was a young fellow his age, I was playing this piece. I was taught to strum like this, but I had the box set of Manitas de Plata flamenco guitar records, and so I found out about the rasgueo, the strum, the flamenco strum, and that's what I wanted to do. But I was told by a teacher that was like an illegal move. You see, you can't do that. And I think it's like in Europe, you don't want to, people, like in Spain, you don't like the gypsies, the Romani. Gypsy is actually a pejorative term, I guess. They don't like the Romani people, so they say, what, do you want to play like a gypsy, huh? Like a gitano? And I say, yes, I do. Yes, I think I would like to play like Manitas de Plata, Sabicas, one of those guys. Yeah, I'd like to play like that. Yeah, sure, yeah. And I don't figure, if I could play like Sabicas, which I can't, but of course he's dead and I'm not, that if I, if I could play like that, that doesn't mean I still can't play like, Bach fugues and things like that on the guitar or whatever, or Melancholy Baby, or as time goes by. See, just adds another. It just adds another tool to my toolbox of ways to make sounds on a guitar. So that's why I think I've learned a lot from playing banjo and 12-string, and of course all the steel string guitars and electric guitars I've played. But there's these illegal moves, like the banjo joke. That ain't the way Earl did it, and there's also the classical guitarist, the light bulb joke. How many classical guitarists take the screw in a light bulb? None. They won't touch anything electric. This guitar has a pickup in it. I'm actually going to hear all that reverb. That's going through my little brown amp. So I'm sorry. I'm pontificating, aren't I?
An awful lot of people that call themselves folk singers were repeating that when Dylan went electric.
Yeah. Right. Well, they hated it, but they weren't really folk singers anyway. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, they weren't. See, I used to be on the folk circuit for a while, and I'm interested. I used to sing and play guitar and stuff, and I still do occasionally. But there were people who were very, the traditionalists, who were the most chauvinistic of all. And the thing was that my uncle didn't teach me how to play the banjo. My uncle lived in Rochester, New York, or does, I guess. He made lenses like microscopes for Bausch and Lomb. He's like some sort of optical engineer kind of guy. And he didn't teach me how to, play the banjo. He didn't know how to play the banjo. That wasn't his bag. I learned how to play banjo by watching people and reading books, and then maybe jamming with people. Other people who also didn't come from, the Appalachian Mountains or something like that, and I play a lot of Spanish guitar, but I'm not from Spain. As an aside, I was thinking about that. I was at the Hy-Vee, I was getting some cottage cheese in that section they call culture. I thought I would never shoplift. That's not my bag, man. I mean, I don't like shoplifters. I used to have a store, and it made a bane of my existence. I wouldn't do that. But what if somebody did steal some cottage cheese? Would that be cultural appropriation?
Probably.
Huh? I tried to tell that to the cashier. He wasn't amused, so yeah, it's okay. Anyway, but that's all right. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so I figured just mix and match, you know. They give me the peace sign or telling me I got 2 minutes left. Anyway, so I will be at the Tuscan Moon Saturday night, possibly Friday night, but I don't know. I'm assuming I won't, but I don't know what to expect in this vale of tears, this rich pageant called life.
And we won't be here next week, but they can see us anyway.
That's right. That's right. 4th of July. And I guess I made a plan. I made this plan. I'm going to start going pro as a media thing on the 4th of July. I was talking to my son. My son's push.
Your Independence Day.
Yeah. So I'll do my own thing. I thought about starting my own publishing company because I come up with a lot of music, write it, and everything. So my son has been pushing me. He just got out of college. You know, he graduated, and he's been pushing me to do these things. And so I. Probably go into business with him to some extent. And so if nothing else, I could be a consultant. If you want to buy a guitar, I'm really good at buying guitars. I'll be... Tune in next week. I'll have some sort of rerun on it. I'd be here for you if I could.